Here we go. Fantastic. We are back.
We are back.
And this week out on the cutting room floor, Dom had wanted to do an episode about James Gunn and his Guardians of the Galaxy films, focusing mostly on the new one, Volume 3, and the holiday special.
Yeah, because, Guardians, to me, I think is some of the best Marvel stuff to drop in the last 10 years. I think outside of the Avengers, I think they probably have some of the most fun movies and most interesting story arcs. And James Gunn made these characters his babies. Yeah, all of them.
Yeah,
all
he did,
of
really.
them. Every single character's detail and writing is thorough. Like, they're all a lead. And the way he divides the time between them all and brings them all together, it's honestly magical and wonderful. And I mean, I think that's why James Gunn is kind of where he's at today, because he's doing something a lot of guys can't do across three films with a little side special to go with it that perfectly ties into the films, because the Christmas special really carries into the third film quite well. So,
also, just really quick, I'm sorry.
No. I was about to tell you to take it away anyway. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, anyone listening who knows, they were also, the Guardians were also in Infinity War and Endgame.
Of course.
And I believe James Gunn helped with like the dialogue, and obviously if he helped with the dialogue, he would help with the story direction of those characters specifically in those films.
I didn't know that, which that would make sense, because they, especially in Infinity War, they still feel very James Gunn.
Yeah, they do. And I think that's why, because they had him have a hand in it. Kind of like how Frank Miller helped direct Sin City, because they were his characters. Mm-hmm. Like Robert Rodriguez knew enough to go to the source. And,
I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah, and I think that's why, yeah. So I actually, if you don't mind, I want to start with your feelings on Volume 3 and the holiday special, because we could kind of backtrack to Volume 1 and 2 then, since I think we both agree that 3 is a better film.
Yeah.
There's more heart and character in it because of what led up to it. And I'd like to know what you think of them, because it's I think it's important.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Guardians 3. So coming out, it came out this year, and this year has been just such an interesting year for film, especially the blockbusters. A lot of flops this year with The Flash, which is undeserving.
Yes,
The Flash is incredible, and I don't care. I'm defending that movie till the end. And Indiana Jones flop major, which is I wasn't shocked by that.
Yeah, me either. It's kind of I mean, after Crystal Skull, what did you really expect?
And
how can you redeem it after that?
Spielberg either.
No.
Like, and even though
like James Mangold is a
great director, but I'm like, man,
now. If it would have been Ford versus Ferrari versus Indiana Jones, I would have watched it. Or Logan versus Indiana
that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
It's just like, no one asked for this indie movie. I love Harrison Ford to death, but Harrison Ford is, 82? Like, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And it's not that I don't want to see him on screen. I love seeing him, but I don't think I want to see him play the whip-cracking Crusader right now.
Yeah.
Like, the way he was used in Blade Runner 2049 was perfect.
You know what? You're right.
He was used perfectly there. It wasn't his show, but it still was enough of his show to feel like a sequel to the story. So,
yeah.
But Guardians 3, I was a little skeptical, because I'm just, I've been a little hero fatigued out, but I have been hopeful with the last 3 major releases between The Flash, Guardians 3, and Spider-Man. So they were all incredible. And I really, really had a great time with Guardians 3. I was extremely shocked. I was pleasantly surprised. It's not that I thought it was going to be bad, but I just wasn't hopeful that it was going to be the best one. And after evaluating it, it might be the best one. And
out of those 3?
Out of the 3, out of the whole series.
Oh, yeah.
I think it may be the best one. And the first one is so magical, don't get me wrong. When they all meet, and and then when they go to jail, it's awesome,
One really quick aside, in the first one, I noticed this time, because last week we're talking about Steven Soderbergh, right? Mm-hmm. Think about the Limey. Think about Stacy and that other guy when they're that one scene we both love when they're staking out that commercial or that TV show, and Stacy's making fun of everybody he sees. Right, the first time you see Rocket and Groot in Guardians, they're making fun of everybody.
They are, man.
Rocket is Stacy.
Yeah, he is. Maybe James Gunn was peeping limey.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
sure he's a Soderbergh fan.
He would have to be.
I mean,
yeah.
You know?
Anyway, that's the first thing I thought of, but I didn't think of it when I first watched it.
And it's awesome because the Guardians is so cool because just watching how they all come together and then learning about their past as the films go on really just makes it all the more special. And the third one, and a lot of people don't like the phrase put a neat bow on things, but that's really what it does, but it works, and it's a perfect conclusion to the story.
And he had to put a bow on it, though, because he literally moved on in between, Endgame and making this film because he was fired from Disney.
Getting fired, which is crazy.
Yeah.
You fire a guy who made you like $2 billion.
Billions of dollars.
But okay.
Yeah. All right.
It's all right. Because I mean, and look at Guardians 3, the numbers don't lie. It made what? 800, 900 million?
Yeah, something.
Dude, look. It actually was a success. So that just tells you that the movie is good. No one's going to go see a film that people were like, yeah, I went and saw it. It sucks. Oh, I'm going to go see it. No, people are obviously saying, hey, man, this is worth going to check out.
And here's a valid question. How did you, as a vegetarian, a vegan, as a vegan, feel about Guardians Volume 3? Because it's almost like PETA's wet dream. You know what I mean? Right? If you think about it.
So, of course, watching the scenes with Rocket and his friends was some of the most devastating stuff I've seen in film. And I watch a lot of tragic films.
You do?
I do. I watch tragic films. I watch bleak films.
I've been thinking about that anime about Hiroshima.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Again, very dark, bleak film. Very sad. Tears fell. Guardians 3, it riled my emotions so much that I had to turn my head a couple times watching some of the stuff going on with Rocket and his homies. It broke me down, and by the time you see what happens to his friends, I was a little bit drained.
Emotionally.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're invested in these characters.
I was super invested. I loved him. I wanted him to all get out and get to go to the new world and live that life. But we know it's a lie.
Oh, right
from the jump. We know that's not going to happen. They're not going anywhere. And the only one who's really valuable to him is Rocket because he's so smart. So
89P13.
Dude. When I saw, and you know what's gonna happen. Like you know, as soon as they cut the screen and show Rocky, when they cut back, what you're gonna see.
Oh yeah.
And it's like
because he, and I'm sorry, I hate to talk over you.
No, go ahead.
But it's almost like you realize watching this film why, like in the second one, Rocket is an asshole and a douchebag, and they even say that in the second one, like. Why are you such an a-hole? And in the first one, he's kind of standoffish and cantankerous and all these things. And you finally get to see why.
Why, yeah.
He's lost everything.
He doesn't trust people at all. And when you see what happens, you're like, well, hell, I wouldn't trust him either.
Yeah, exactly.
And you do fully understand why he is the way he is. Rocket's story kind of reminds me, not to this degree because this guy is a total a-hole, but he kind of reminded me of Homelander from The Boys. Where when you first see Homelander, you're like, okay, this guy's a dickhead. Why are you like this? But as you get to see where Homelander came from and how he was brought up, you're like, well, wouldn't you be a little bit like this too?
Yeah.
It's almost, obviously Rocket's more of a hero, but it's the perfect kind of villainous backstory, to show people why. Because most villains often start as decent folk. Yeah, and something tragic happens that changes them. So Rocket was a cute, playful pet type of
Yeah, he
kid.
actually is a
Yeah,
raccoon,
he's a
even though he always says,
Don't call
"I'm
me
not a raccoon." Yeah, I'm
Even
not
in
a
the
raccoon.
Christmas special when or Kevin Bacon's like, "Not gonna hurt, or we're not gonna hurt you." He's like, "Oh, talking raccoon and raccoon."
Yeah.
Or
Oh,
Rocket
yeah.
tries to attack him.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, why you?" Yeah.
Like, but Rocket, Rocket. This Guardians 3 is a Rocket movie. It's about Rocket, and it's actually perfect because Rocket should be, like we were talking about before, Rocket should be the center of this story because Rocket is truly the heart of the Guardians.
Yeah, he
really is the heart and soul of them.
And even he didn't realize it.
He didn't.
No, until
And
everyone
really
pulls together. Yeah.
Until you watch this film.
Yeah, once he gets hurt, everyone's like, we have to save Rocket, and we have to do whatever the hell we can do to save him.
Because it's like, you watch the first two and you're like, well, it's Quill. And then you realize it's not Quill.
No.
You're like, Quill is really a sidekick at the end of the day.
Yeah, because it's almost like you think Quill is the Han Solo.
Yes, the Quill's Han Solo, you know.
But then you realize it's actually Rocket, because then when you go back, you're like, oh, Groot is his Wookiee.
Groot is his Wookiee.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
And Rocket's the pilot. Rocket is, he
flies the ships, he can do the weapons, all that. And Groot is the co-pilot. And, Groot, just like Chewie, he's almost indestructible no matter what you do. He's going to come back in some kind of way.
Yeah, this one has like Swole Groot.
Yeah,
and the holiday special.
I like Jack Groot a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jack Groot kind of reminds me of myself.
You know what? It's only because you're Jack.
Yeah, I try. I'm trying, man. I'm choosing weights, man. You know, as you get older, shit starts feeling heavier.
Yeah.
But that was an excellent comparison. They really are Han and Chewie. And, Quill is kind of along for their ride. Yeah. And Quill is kind of someone they needed to meet in their life, someone who was important, a lifelong friend that they learned a lot from.
He's kind of more like Luke because he ends up bringing them together.
He ends up bringing them together.
Everyone together,
But he has his own journey, too. Where, like, Han Solo ended up, becoming a big fighter in the Revolution. Kind of like Rocket does. Wow, it's really an insane comparison.
Yeah.
But this is a Rocket film. This film is about Rocket, his redemption, but man, Rocket's conclusion, it's so satisfying. It makes all the tragic stuff you saw feel like it was worth seeing it. Yeah. It felt so gratifying seeing him get his revenge and seeing how hard they rallied the team together to get him back. And I just love how it was all hands on deck. Nothing. We got to save Rocket. We got to save Rocket. Lives were willing to be risked. They didn't care. And that showed you, okay, you think the smallest little critter would be the most, dispensable character, but he's not at all. He's the most important part of the story, which is really cool. And
that's a testament to James Gunn making you give a shit about a talking raccoon.
Yeah, making you give
I know that sounds weird.
Yeah, it does. You're like, talking raccoon. I'm crying watching a talking raccoon.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like he's putting more emotion in me than any of these human characters.
And Bradley Cooper. It says a lot about Bradley Cooper.
Voice actor randomly.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't see his name in the credits, you would never know it was him.
There's clips online of him like doing the recording. And even that's amazing to see him.
I would love to see him like actually doing it.
Yeah, and it's like I admit, the first time I saw Bradley Cooper was probably an early random episode of Sex and the City. Because a lot of guys when they were younger guest starred in Sex and the City, but then like the jerk in Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers.
Yeah. Yes. And so because that was
taking that movie.
He was because that was before The Hangover.
Before The Hangover. Because I remember, of course, Wedding Crashers. He's a super dick.
Yeah.
What did they call him? He had a weird nickname.
He did.
It was
and it's been a while since I've seen it.
Bone or the the hit or it was something weird. I cannot remember. He had a weird nickname in there, but I remember him from Failure to Launch with Matthew McConaughey and Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh my god!
Yes, I've seen that film. He was one of his friends.
I've seen it too.
And then I think he did a movie with Sandra Bullock called About Steve.
All About Steve.
All About Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I think that was before The Hangover, right?
Before The Hangover too,
or around the same time.
Like 06 or 07.
Yeah, because they didn't know if The Hangover was going to be as popular as it was. Yeah,
The Hangover was a big sleeper hit. No one knew it was going to be that big.
Yeah,
but it made like $500 million. No one thought that movie was doing that. So. Yeah, and then The Hangover obviously just catapulted him into the stratosphere.
And then he was facing the A-Team.
Yeah,
with Liam Neeson and stuff.
Who was it? Quentin Jackson? Didn't he play?
I think he played B.A. Baracus. Yeah,
it's random. I totally forgot about that movie.
And Patrick Wilson was the bad guy in that movie. Yeah,
Patrick Wilson, random.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, Bradley, he really blew me away. Just the selection of him for the role was shocking to me because at that time he was a big Oscar guy. He was coming off like Silver Linings and
you're right. Yeah, the David O. Russell stuff we were talking about.
The David O. Russell train. Around when this came out because I think I want to say American Hustle and Guardians was possibly the same year.
They could have been,
so it was definitely a different role for him to take, and I was like. He's just trying to be the biggest actor he can be, taking this role.
And it worked.
No, I actually felt like he maybe connected with the character.
Yeah.
And he really wanted to bring something to us. And it's because you don't see his face, and he doesn't sound like him, you forget it's Bradley. And then when you think about it, you're like, Bradley really brought something to this character with his voice acting. It's incredible.
He did with Rocket what Robert Downey Jr. did with Tony Stark. Yeah, and I might even go so far as people are going to hate this, and I don't know how you're going to feel about this either.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited. Hot take.
I think Bradley Cooper as Rocket is honestly a better character than Tony Stark.
All right, yeah, you've lost your mind, but okay.
well, because of, Rocket ends up helping, especially in Endgame. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's the guy that slaps the shit out of Thor.
He does.
Come here. Come here.
Because Rocket he fears no man.
No, he doesn't.
I love him.
He is fearless, just like Tony Stark, but, at the end of the day, what Rocket did in, 3 different films saved more people than what Tony Stark did. And I'm not thinking about the snap.
I was like, can you say that?
I'm not thinking about the snap
because
he only did the snap with Rocket's help.
That is true, but he sacrificed himself.
He did. But I think
cried like a little kid.
I think everybody did.
Dude, I was crying that whole movie. I cried 3 different times in that movie.
What about with Spider-Man at the end of Infinity War?
Oh my God.
Devastating.
Dude.
Yeah.
Infinity War and Endgame put tears in my eyes. I'm like, I should not care this much about costume characters.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah. But I think, believe it or not, I think emotionally, because Tony Stark, and Rocket try to keep people away, but I think at the end of the day, more people gave a shit about Rocket. As far as his close person,
I'll agree with that. His inner circle,
yes,
I'll agree. He was more important to his inner circle, as far as being an emotional support than Tony was for his inner circle.
Yeah,
but Tony's brain was beyond needed in his circle to get anything done.
But I wonder if they knew that Tony was going to do the snap when he did, if they would have rallied like they did for Rocket to try to figure out a way to save him in the same way that they did with Rocket.
That's a great question because I can't honestly say that they would have.
Yeah.
Because, and it's not to say that they didn't love or care about him as much, but Tony was far more callous. And he liked to keep to himself. Although Rocket did push people away, he kept those close at arm's length.
Yeah.
Where Tony, he's like, call me when you need me. Whereas Rocket's like, I'm right by your side all the time.
Yeah.
he's an adventurer. Tony's a businessman. So
Yes, you're
you
right.
will connect. I understand what you're saying. As far as a connection level, although he's a raccoon, he definitely connects more on a human level to people than Tony did. So I will give you that.
Yeah, because I know you're a big Iron Man fan.
But I can't say
so that's what I'm saying.
At all.
No, well, they're almost exactly the same because they're both really good with, electronics and,
really smart
and technology and stuff. And they might actually be like the same level of intellect. They just have different
motives,
spheres of in which they work.
Yes, they
like if
Rocket's a hood guy.
Yes.
Rocket's working in some dingy garage where Tony's in a beautiful laboratory with Jarvis.
Yes. Yeah, Rocket's scrounging.
Yeah, he's getting scraps. Rocket is essentially Tony in the cave in Iron Man 1.
You know what? You're right. He is
all the time.
Yeah. Or when we meet Spider-Man in Civil War, he's like dumpster diving.
Yes. So Tony's the refined, more classy Rocket.
Yeah.
Because Tony's a billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. Where Rocket's a foul mouth, little middle finger throwing little bastard. But you do love him. He's one of them guys. Like he might be rough around the edges, but once you break through that core, he's probably going to be one of your favorite people you've ever met.
So in the beginning of Guardians Volume 3, the very beginning, we see a young Rocket getting plucked out of all the raccoons to be experimented on. Mm-hmm. But then it goes to the beginning credits. And they seem really important. And I wanted to ask you, because they're playing an amazing acoustic version of Creep by Radiohead, which I believe was a B-side to one of their singles way back when. And do you think Rocket played that because that's how he feels about himself? Or one of the very last credits, it's like, I'm a creep, I'm a weirdo, I don't belong here. It says it right when it says written and directed by James Gunn, who it was after he had been kicked out, and he's already doing his DC stuff. So I wonder if it's like one or the other or both.
I think it's a bit of both because I think James Gunn sees himself in Rocket probably more than any other character that he's dealing with. Yeah. So I think it was a play on both. He was like, I kind of am Rocket in this situation. And I actually, now I'm glad you actually brought that up. It just jogged my mind a little bit. I do think that James Gunn wrote 3 the way he did because of his experiences at Disney beforehand.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows all through Rocket's arc. Like, not being good enough, being cast aside, even though I am something very special.
Yeah, that's true. You're right, because the High Evolutionary...
Yes, you guys know I'm valuable to you, and you know that.
Yeah.
But you're keeping me in the dark, and you don't want me to succeed because you're the conglomerate that you are.
Yeah, because I'm the proof that whatever you think you can do works.
Yep, absolutely.
But it's only because of what I'm able to do.
Only because of what I'm able to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I love that he got to throw it in Disney's face like, I just put out your highest grossing movie of the year.
Yeah.
What you gonna fire me again?
Yeah.
Give me my money.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, and if I'm James Gunn, I might throw a middle finger to Disney and be like, I just wanted to give the people who support me what they deserve.
Yeah.
With this conclusion. So I'd be like, F you, I'm doing fire DC stuff from now on.
Yeah.
Because Disney they just love severing good relationships.
They do.
I'm like, you guys are just gonna keep screwing over people who are making you money over stupid things that shouldn't matter because they do their jobs properly.
I think what worked about like the first 2 Guardians films, and especially this one, but the first 2 is that they were only like peripherally involved in the larger story. Like obviously the MacGuffin, to coin a phrase from Alfred Hitchcock, in the first film was an Infinity Stone. Mm-hmm. So it gave an opportunity to explain what the hell these things were.
Yeah.
To begin with, to kind of set up, the later story arc. I think it was the first time we had Josh Brolin as Thanos doing the voice. Yeah. I think someone else did it in Avengers.
Yeah,
because even Thanos looked different. He was more purple in Avengers.
He is.
And so there's a lot of key elements that paid off later, and obviously Gamora and Nebula are Thanos' daughters, and
so to speak.
so to speak. And all these things, but I think overall the stories had less to do with the greater Marvel narrative than the other films did in the end.
Yeah.
And I think that helped them.
I think it helped too.
Yeah.
I think it helped a lot because their stories are very much their own outside of the greater universe. Because Tony Stark, as much as I love him, he gets so tied into the other arcs.
Yeah, he
and
does.
his arc alone kind of dwindles away towards the back end of the last phase of the MCU. So it's like Guardians never felt like they weren't Guardians. Even Captain, Tony Stark, Thor, all the main players, they kind of got pulled in so many different directions.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and even with the Guardians being in Thor films, being
oh
in
yeah, that's
Avengers,
right. They were in Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder, yeah. Even with them being in Thor films and Avengers films, they still were like, we got our stuff to do. We're not. Remember, they left. They're like, Thor,
they did.
We love you. You've been hanging with us. You're great, but you ain't a Guardian. You need to get your ass out of here. We'll see you later. Call us when the world needs saving again.
Yeah.
So they're very independent of that, and I wonder if James Gunn hit Taika Waititi and was like, listen, you know, use them, but don't be overstaying your welcome.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you doing something with these guys that's going to dilute what I want to do later.
Yeah, because it would taint, like, you're right. It would have if they would have done any more. Because even though, I forget, did you enjoy Love and Thunder? Because I know I did.
I enjoyed it, but it wasn't as good as I hoped it would be.
Yeah, it wasn't like Ragnarok.
It was like a Ragnarok point
Yeah.
It was funny. It had its moments. It was a gorgeous film.
And your girl was in it, though.
Oh, yeah. Come on, man. That's my girl. So, and that was, one of the best parts, of course. But she's always good, man. And she's always good in hero flicks, Star Wars,
oh, yeah, that's right, Padme.
She's always good. And a lot of people don't like her Padme. But I liked her. I mean, how do you work with George Lucas dialogue?
Yeah, it's more the direction and the, and the writing.
I definitely think George is more the reason.
An actor is only as good as their director.
Yeah, bro.
You can't really outshine your director unless, as we were talking weeks upon weeks ago, unless you're Kurt Russell in Tombstone. And obviously Val Kilmer also.
Val Kilmer, yeah.
Oh, and Michael Biehn also. Yeah, anyone in Tombstone can outshine their director.
That's it. But yeah, so I mean, like you said, the film's only gonna be as good as a director. Like an actor can only do so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, Love and Thunder is decent, but the Guardians, their role in it, it's minimal. They're fun. They're there for a good time, but they don't overstay their welcome. And I like that because if they would have did too much, then James Gunn's gonna have to take from there and add it in. It's like, it can get a little muddy, but he really wrote an incredible screenplay for this that it paced so nicely, and he intercut. The editing is what really works well. The intercutting of Rocket's story layered throughout the rescue mission. And it just makes you care more and more and more. And as it goes on, you're just like, bro, we gotta get this dude, Do
you like the origin as flashbacks kind of motif instead of just like a straightforward origin story?
Because I like it as flashbacks. Because he pulled off a Godfather 2 in this movie on a smaller scale.
You know what?
He
gave
us
right.
a prequel and a sequel in one.
Yeah.
And he did it well, just like Coppola does it well in Godfather 2. So, and I like that. I think it's incredible because, it feels like we're wasting less of our time because we don't, as much as we love watching films, we can't watch a million films because if you give us a Rocket prequel, we're going to need a whole nother movie.
Yeah.
So
no, you're right. And it for some reason, it helps propel the story forward because then once Rocket comes to, you understand his motivations.
Yep. And it happens all at once, so you can feel it more. There's no waiting because you lose. Your emotion is going to drop off a little bit if I got to wait another 2 years. To see what's going on. But I think he wrote it incredibly, and we talked about Rocket, but we got to talk about we got to talk about the other characters too.
Well, how did you feel about Peter still pining for Gamora? And it's been, I feel like, years, but probably not.
It's gotta be, at least
for us, it's been years, but for them, I'm not sure.
For them, it's got to be at least what, 5?
It would have to be.
Like at least 5.
At least light years.
Yeah, like I mean, the space time is. I mean, some time is probably gone. Like Peter Quill is actually probably a way different age than he probably actually should be. Just from being in space, he probably actually doesn't even know how old he really is.
Yeah, how could he remember?
Peter Quill could be 95 years old. Who knows?
He's as old as Captain America.
It's like an Interstellar. Like how Matthew McConaughey's character goes to certain planets and like time's way different. Like an hour on one of the planets in Interstellar is a whole, 10 years on Earth?
Really?
Yeah. So he's on this planet. He's like, dude, we got like 5 minutes, dude. Because I'm like, it's crazy because like his kids are like on Earth growing up and he's not getting older. So he's like, bro, my kids and me are about to be like the same age.
Wow.
And like, have you seen it?
No.
All right, let me stop talking.
No.
No.
I know it's Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, so. I don't want to tell you anymore. Because,
okay.
His daughter is played by Jessica Chastain.
Oh, okay.
And you gotta watch it. It's Jessica Chastain plays his older daughter, and then Timothée Chalamet plays his young son, and then Casey Affleck plays his older son.
Oh, really?
So yeah, you got bro. There's some scenes they're gonna make you cry.
Wow.
Interstellar's. I don't like how it ends. I will be honest. The third act is. It's just. I just would have went with a different direction if it was my film, but it does not take away from the journey, man. It's incredible. But anywho,
yeah.
So you asked me how I felt about Peter still pining.
Yeah, still pining for Gamora because we all know Gamora got murdered in Endgame or Infinity War. Infinity War, and then in Endgame, an earlier version of Gamora comes from the past to the future, so she never had the experiences with the Guardians. Yeah.
So I think it's good. I actually think he should. I think it was good for the story, for the directions, and obviously it's going to make him care enough to want to include Gamora in the mission.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't still love her, he'd be like, all right, you go with your little outlaw bandit people and we'll go save our friend.
Yeah.
But no. He wanted her around, and of course they did too. The rest of the crew.
Oh yeah.
Of course they all did. And Nebula's like, bro, it's still my sister.
Yeah, so does that make him selfish if he feels like he's the only one though that misses her? Because think about Nebula, even though they obviously fought a lot the first 2 films, and they were at odds almost the entire time.
They still had it was sibling love still.
Yeah, and it's like. I'm still, because in the beginning when he's like drunk and Nebula like lays him down and he touches her arm and he's like, I love you, Gamora. How do you think that makes her feel? Because it's like, 1, I'm not Gamora.
Yeah.
2, I'm sort of like an LGBTQ plus character now. You know what I mean? And not to be funny, but she's like, why would I be interested in you?
Yeah.
But 3, like, it's still my sister. How do you think I feel? I miss her too.
Yeah.
And
it's like, in a way, you could, from an outsider's perspective, you could be like, yeah, Peter's being selfish. But if it was you, you'd be the same way.
Yeah.
Put yourself in his shoes, like, dude, I'd be the same way. I miss her. He has never found someone like her in the galaxy, and he's never going to.
Yeah.
They had a very good connection. Their chemistry, I thought, through the first 2 films were incredible, especially as it grows. When you see how he reacts when he finds out that Thanos' crazy ass threw her off a cliff.
Oh,
that boy goes crazy. It was probably some of Chris Pratt's best acting.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, he really cared for, like, he wanted to make some light green kids.
He did.
He wanted to make some light green children.
And other than sleeping with the Hulk, how else is he going to do it?
How else is he going to do it? Maybe She-Hulk.
Well, maybe. Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he can handle her.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
But Gamora and him had a great connection, and I liked that he still pined for her, and it made the motivations higher, up the stakes. I think it was good for the writing and good for the flow of the film. And of course, there's still that. It made everything, all their interactions better because, of course, Gamora is still Gamora in a sense. She's not the version he fell in love with, but it's still a version.
It's still the woman he fell in love with.
Yeah, she still looks the same. Her hair is a little different. She looks like she's a little more scarred, maybe. She's got a little rougher around the edges.
Yeah.
But she's still the same girl he fell for. So it's like, for the most part, of course her attitude's a little different, her mindset's a little different, but it's like, she's just more back to how she was when we first met.
Yeah.
You know, she was very like, dude, some earthling white dude, get away from me.
Yeah.
Like, because how often do you see white dudes? You know,
yeah,
you don't see white
yeah.
dudes that much, you know?
Because doesn't she say, like, towards the end, doesn't she say something like, I bet we were great together?
Yeah, she does.
And he's like,
she
we
does.
were.
Yep. She was like, you know, about, it was something to that
something
fact.
to that.
Yes,
yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
It actually might have been her exact words. Yeah, I thought their dynamic through each film, it was incredible. And, you know, of course, like, there's always a little love story in all these little hero films. But I think this one is perfect because it's not the center of the film.
But it's, in a way it is, but it's not the love you're talking about. It's family love.
It's family love,
because they made their own family.
Yes, it's family love. It's like, yes, I miss you on a emotional, like, you know, in love level, but it's like, I just miss having you around with us. Like, you're Gamora, or you're Nebula's sister, you're Rocket's aunt, you know, you're Groot's aunt, you're Drax's sister, you know, you're Mantis's friend, you know, Mantis is like the adopted, like step on. I don't know. Like,
you're right.
How you would classify her, but
because she only came in volume 2 and the holiday special, which I know you love the holiday special,
dude. It was awesome. I actually really enjoyed it. It was really funny, and I like. And the holiday special was great. Just to dive in that a little bit, it was nice to see Mantis and Drax connection in there because it carries into how they are in the third one. Because I actually got quite emotional in the third one dealing with their arc. There's a scene with Nebula, Mantis, and Drax, and they're having an argument, and it's essentially about where their place lies in this group. And Mantis says some very mean things about Drax that really hurts his feelings. And then she uses her powers and makes him forget about it. And that actually struck me really hard because it really makes you wonder what the people you love and care about around you, how they really feel about you and what they really think about you.
And what they hide to protect your feelings.
And what they hide to protect your feelings. And it's like, and that made me think, I know everyone that cares about me in my life omits things that they want to tell me for the sake of my feelings. And it's like, it makes you think, how much do you want to know? Do you want to, it's not always good to know everything, especially about what someone's thinking or feeling, because it can just mess with your mind. And just like she said, if I would have led Drax to believe, if I would have let him hear what I said and keep going on, he would have left us. Because it would have hurt him that much. She's like, whether or not I think what I said is true, I do think what I said is true. It is true. That doesn't define him and what our relationship is and what he means to this group. And I felt that was a very powerful emotional arc between those three characters. And I was just like, James Gunn wrote his ass off in this. He gave us a action drama film that works very well. And it makes you give a damn. I'm like, I really care about these dudes.
And the crazy part is this. I started to talk about it before we were recording. And then I stopped because I wanted to save it for this. The original, like, there's sort of a version of this iteration of the Guardians. Because the original version of the Guardians is the characters from, like, Volume 2 that go to Yondu's, like, I'll say, like, Viking funeral, or Ravager funeral. Right? So it's, like, Stallone's character. It's Michael Rosenbaum's character. It's Michelle Yeoh's character. Ving Rhames' character and Yondu, like, they were all the original Guardians, and then this version only came around, I want to say, like 15 or 16 years ago in the comics. And it's not even this specific version. So what James Gunn did, I believe, with the first Guardians film was he showed that the concept of a Suicide Squad would work because the Suicide Squad is villains, you know, doing things to save people. And his version of the Guardians, everyone except for Rocket started out as a villain. Even Star-Lord.
Star-Lord. He was a little thief, criminal, little petty asshole.
And in the comics, Peter Quill became Star-Lord by murdering the guy who was supposed to become Star-Lord so he can get revenge on the aliens who killed his mom. That's the original comic version. So he was a complete villain, really.
Man, so Peter Quill prequel might have been kind of cool.
so you have, like, Drax is a villain, Gamora is a villain, Star-Lord's a villain, Groot is a villain. The only one who wasn't was Rocket.
Wow.
So he took this concept, because I've read before that James Gunn, he obviously made the Suicide Squad after Suicide Squad because he added the to it.
Yeah.
But this was sort of his way, I believe, of showing that concept could work. You take villains, you make them heroes,
Mm-hmm.
and you make people care about them.
Yep. Humanize them.
Because he really loves the characters, and you can tell even from the first one, because Drax should just be a total shitbag. Really,
dude.
I mean, that sounds terrible.
He should be the least likable out of all of them, I feel like.
But you
he's
love him.
So great.
Yeah, and he's kind of terrible in the first film because he's the one who has Ronan come and find him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's the one. He just wants revenge for his wife and daughter being killed.
Yeah, but you get that.
You do. But he at that point he doesn't care about anyone else.
He don't care about nobody else. He grows so much.
But then you see, like at the beginning of Volume 3, he's getting the shit beat out of him from Adam Warlock, and then that's when like Nebula like knifes Adam Warlock through the chest, and you know, and you see that smile on Drax's face because he knows that someone has his back.
Someone got his back. Yeah.
Whereas in the first one, he didn't have anyone's back, and he didn't know if anyone had his.
Yeah, man. Especially like, dude, when the first one's great because when they go to jail and they gotta work together, bro. That's where they meet Drax. That's when.
Yeah, you're right.
Like that's when everything like you just know something special is about to come from them, man.
Yeah.
The first one is a banger, man. But like it is great, but I did think I like the third one more. Just because, just like we always talk about, you needed the first two to get something this great. Yeah. So I respect the first two, but the third one's just next level.
And the second one is kind of like, I don't want to say it's trash because it's not bad.
It's not as good as 1 or 3.
No, and
I love Kurt Russell.
Yeah, and he was good in it. It's just that they focus, I think, too much on Peter's story.
Yes.
Although Yondu and Rocket bond really well.
Love Yondu.
And it's like they, especially when they're in jail together on the ship, I think that's when they realize each other's value. And then Groot, young baby Groot, finally gets the fin for Yondu. Yep. And then they like break out with Kraglin's help. And it's like, I think that's the best part of that film.
Yeah.
To show like how, because they're all redemption stories.
Yeah.
Because even Yondu,
he has the best arc in 2.
Yeah, he does. He has the best arc.
He's amazing in 2.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. Is he cool? Hell yeah, he's cool. That's the best part of the movie.
Him with that damn arrows.
Yes,
awesome, dude. He's fucking awesome. And and his arc is so good in there randomly because he feels like such an asshole. Yeah. But then by the end, you're like, you realize he's amazing. You're like, he actually gave a real damn about Peter. He's like, he looked at Peter like his son. So
and like, and you have to realize, like, honestly, that's like a shout out to like stepdads.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because he's like, he may have been your father, but he wasn't your dad.
He wasn't your dad. Yeah. He was a sperm donor.
Yeah. And it's like, wow. Because, I don't think stepdads that are there get enough credit.
At all.
You know what I mean? Or even dads who are there don't get enough credit. But because they're there, so you get taken for granted. Mm-hmm. But it was kind of nice to see that even though, because obviously Ego is a deadbeat dad. Yep. I mean, let's throw that out there too. To billions, apparently, from all the skeletons you see. Only to Mantis and to Peter was he not a deadbeat dad.
Which is
or even Peter, it's only for a short period of time.
But it's just it blows my mind that Quill and Mantis are technically like bro and sis.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's so strange.
Yeah,
you guys share the same DNA.
Yeah,
but we gotta get into some of the characters.
Okay, I'm sorry, I keep going.
We gotta get into the main guy. So we covered Rocket pretty good.
Yeah, and a little bit.
We talked about Quill pretty good.
Yeah,
but we gotta talk about some of the unsung heroes of Guardians, like Mantis, Nebula.
Who do you want to start with?
Who
are you feeling?
Let's start with Nebula.
Okay.
Nebula. I did not like her much in the first Guardians.
Yeah.
But man, by the third one, Nebula may be my overall favorite Guardian.
So she sort of. I just realized as you were speaking, she's kind of like Loki.
She is
because Loki and like her and Gamora kind of have a Thor Loki
type. You're right.
Yeah, and you're right because she really has everyone in Guardians has a redemption arc anyway, but hers almost more so.
Yeah, I was like, hers is one of the best ones.
Yeah,
because she is like. She's ruthless, and she's willing to willing to do whatever for Daddy Thanos' crazy ass.
Yeah, she is in the beginning.
Yeah, she's like all about it. She's all trying to catch Gamora, and she's going insane. But man, as she rolls with the team, she really finds her place. And that actress, I forgot her. It's like
Karen Gillan.
Yeah, I was like, is Karen something?
Yeah.
Incredible, because I watched her in like Jumanji and other stuff.
Oh yeah, she was on Doctor Who for a little while, also way back.
I'm not a Whoer, but
yeah,
I know a little bit.
The newer Doctor Who, I should say.
Of course, I mean, she's not that old.
Yeah,
but she played this role so well, and like what they do with the costume with her melts her. Like one of my buddies, he was like,
"My God, she's a redhead."
Yeah, she is, which I don't find her very attractive.
Oh, okay.
She's okay. She's all right.
Yeah,
I find her more attractive as Nebula. If you want me to be honest,
you prefer her a little blue.
I prefer a little blue, and but it's not that she looks like, oh, look at that girl physically. It's her arc and her voice and her presence and the way she is, and like. I just like her attitude and vibe. She's a vibey chick.
She's kind of like you had watched Terminator 3 because I watched your what you watched last month. Is she kind of like the female Terminator in Terminator 3?
A little bit, man. Yeah, especially like her abilities.
Yes,
Dude, let's talk about her abilities.
Yeah.
She's badass, dude. This is a chick you want on your team fighting. One, she's almost like a robot in a way.
Yeah.
So she can like kind of like interchangeable parts essentially. If she gets messed up, she can kind of put herself back together.
And she gets Bucky's arm from Rocket for Christmas.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
And like the last fight scene when they're all fighting together and they're playing No Sleep Till Brooklyn from the BC Boys. Bro, that's one of the best action scenes of the year. And they break her whole body down and she's like noodle limp. Like her neck's like, her head's like behind her back. And she just like snaps herself back together and just starts beating fucking ass. And I'm like,
she does.
Dude, she is so badass. I'm like, she is hardcore. I'm like, out of all these guys, man, I'm like, Nebula is definitely one of the top picks who I'm taking with me for a fight.
Yeah.
She's super slick and cool. And she really does grow. And she becomes, honestly, a leader. She ends up taking on like a kind of a Princess Leia type of role and really doing things for the greater good.
Yeah.
And she wants to make a life for everyone on their little, their little...
Nowhere.
Yeah,
because that's what it's called, KNOW, but nowhere.
She wants everyone to live there and be free. And that's really what her main goal is. By the end of the third film,
she's almost like one of your favorite characters, Batman.
Yeah,
because his goal in becoming Bruce Wayne's goal in becoming Batman. Spoiler alert: Bruce Wayne is Batman. His goal is to have no child suffer the way he did. By losing their parents. So I think her goal, especially because they find all those kids and stuff and all the animals, she doesn't want them to have to suffer the way Thanos made her suffer.
Yep, and Thanos and you feel bad for Nebula, too, because she was always the second fiddle to Gamora.
Because Gamora always won. They would fight. He would have them fight. And every time she lost, he would replace a part of her body.
Yep. And that's so like, God, Thanos, what a great
sadistic
father. Yeah. And, she was always in the shadow of Gamora. Like, and they're two girls. Like, if this was the Earth world and you put them out there, everyone would be like, oh, well, Gamora's the prettier one. Gamora's the smarter one, the more talented one. And she'd always be sitting in Gamora's shadow like, I fucking hate my sister.
But that's what happens.
That's what happens. And that happened. And, I know so many siblings that go through that, in real life. That's why I'm glad I have a sister that's way younger than me, so we never had to be compared that way. But
Wow, that is good though.
That's how they are, and the fact that Nebula grows to really actually appreciate her sister for who she is and finally got to take the umbrella of Thanos off of her and see her for who she was.
Yeah.
And she grows to love and care for her just like any other sister. Like,
Yeah.
like when Thanos takes her in Infinity War and he comes back empty-handed, Nebula was the first one. She's like, "Where is Gamora?"
Yeah, you're right.
Yo, she was the first
Yeah,
one.
she
Like,
was-
yo, somebody's missing. Where is she at?
Yeah.
And he's like, Thanos was sad. Obviously,
yeah.
or he wouldn't even got the stone. Soul for
Yeah.
a soul. It's gotta be somebody you care about. So
Yeah.
and that's one of my favorite parts of Infinity War too. Honestly, the best parts of Infinity War are all the Guardian arcs.
Yeah.
Like one of the best parts is when he goes to get the stone and he realizes like, all right, I need to give up something I love. And Gamora thinks she won because she thinks he doesn't love her.
Yes.
And
you don't love anything.
Yeah, and you see this man start to tear up and she's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
She's
That's
like,
why I'm here.
Yeah, she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh damn it, yo, he actually did care."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he's like, whoosh, and I'm like, "Bruh, what the hell?" I was like, "Man, it's really going there." And I mean, Nebula is all about it. She was like, "Nope, this dude, F this dude.
Yeah.
Dad, you've been a dick my whole life, and now me and my sister finally got a relationship going, and you take her from me."
Yeah.
So her arc is incredible. She's a funny character. She's got that really dry sense of humor.
She does. Yeah.
She's very, very interesting, and I love the way the actress plays her. She plays her to perfection. The look of her is cool with the kind of like mosaic-y looking face with different colors.
You're right, because it's blue and it's purple,
and like shades of like gunmetal gray and stuff.
Yeah,
weird colors in it.
Yeah.
It's she has a very cool look. She's honestly one of the better characters. She is amazing. What your thoughts on Nebula?
I think that like her and Rocket once people disappeared. Because I forget how many Guardians disappeared in Infinity War.
Because Rocket stays.
Yeah, and so did she.
So did she. Doesn't Quill stay? No, Quill goes.
I think he disappears.
Yeah, Quill disappears.
I think Drax
disappears too. And Mantis.
And
it's just Rocket and
Nebula and probably like a twig of Groot.
Yeah, a little piece of Groot. Yeah, because he started growing back.
Yeah, and because Groot was also the handle to Stormbreaker for Thor.
Yeah. Because that's when they start putting him in the pot, right?
Yeah,
and he starts growing. Yeah.
So I think that's a turning point for her. Like once her and Rocket only had each other, that formed that dynamic that you see, like, I think at the end of Volume 3, because isn't she the first one to call him Captain? She calls him
Captain. Yeah,
I think she's the first one.
Yep, she's the one. She's like,
who acknowledges
the guy
that he's.
She pretty much tells him like, you're the reason all this goes.
Yeah,
Without you, this doesn't go.
Yeah, as long as you stay in this, there will always be Guardians. Without you, there wouldn't be Guardians.
Yep. And she does. She's incredible.
Yeah, you're right, and she's multifaceted, and I don't say that just because of all the joints that can rearrange themselves like some kind of upper level Terminator.
Yeah,
but she ends up after Volume 2, like finding just like all the other characters did in Volume 1, but she finds that family that she wanted but probably didn't know she needed.
Yep,
and didn't expect to find it. With these
random,
this motley crew of
this
whatever,
freaking band of misfits.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. I don't think she knew she needed that. She probably felt like, you know what? I can do everything by my damn self. Yeah. What I need anyone for.
And doesn't she even tell Drax in Volume 3 that he's useless?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my god, like
yo, that's why I was like, man, I felt rough. There was a point I felt for every character in the film.
Yeah, but like okay. The one thing, if we can just move on to Drax really quick or whatever,
we'll jump right into Drax.
Okay. Volume 2, he's like, I have sensitive nipples.
Yes.
And then, at one point he's like, my nipples, when he puts the rocket pack on him, right? Why the hell is he wearing a shirt and a jacket and stuff this whole movie if he has sensitive nipples?
Yeah, I don't know.
Tell me. I need to know. What happened to your nips?
Maybe you got them pierced
Maybe.
To take out some of to desensitize them.
Maybe Mantis made him forget he has sensitive nipples. Yeah.
I wonder if it works like that.
Probably
could.
It could,
most things are psychological.
Yeah, because remember, she kept she was there to help Ego sleep when he needed to recharge.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
Mantis is great. Drax,
though,
so
yes, I'm sorry.
We're going to talk about Drax. Drax, Dave Bautista.
Oh, my God.
What an actor he's become.
And even in the first one, there's a little bit of Drax in there. Like the Drax that we know now, let's say. And slowly, because of how Drax moves anyway, he's like blending in, right?
Yeah.
So he becomes the Drax that we kind of know and love now.
Mm-hmm.
Like by the holiday special, I think Drax is fully formed.
Yes.
Because he has to go through whatever he has to go through. Like why would I drag my finger across his throat?
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's an expression.
Yes.
Like we had to get to know who Drax was first to understand the brilliance of his performance.
Yes.
I believe.
Yes. Dave Bautista. I think Dave Bautista's strongest trait as an actor is that he very much understands all the characters he's played. Every movie I've watched Dave Bautista in, first of all, he's a good performer.
He is, actually.
He's actually a good performer.
As a wrestler, I mean, it's weird because you have The Rock and John Cena now.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't think of...
Dave Bautista came out of nowhere, kind of.
Yeah.
He came out of nowhere with the skills. We saw The Rock. The Rock was always one of the most popular. He was always very theatrical. We knew it wouldn't be weird for him to transition like this. Dave Bautista took my storm because I was actually still watching wrestling a little bit. Yeah. When he that was towards the end of my wrestling watching, but he was new. He had hair back then, but
because the first thing I ever saw him act in was a season 6 episode of Smallville.
Wow.
And I think Lil Bow Wow was in that episode too.
Wow. He wasn't a bad actor either. He was in a lot of stuff. Yeah. First thing I saw Dave Bautista act in, I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit, but was actually an adult video.
Oh my. Really?
Yeah, he has an adult video.
Wow. I guess he must have been hard up.
He was. He was hard up. It was on the side B of Paris Hilton's One Night in Paris.
Oh wow!
So you can
wait. Why would they put those two together?
I have no idea. It was on it.
Wow.
Back in 7th grade.
Wow.
My boy slid me the bootleg copy of One Night in Paris, and that was on it.
Wow.
So that was the first time I saw Dave Bautista perform.
Wow. Was he any good is really the question.
Hey, I'm like, dude, listen.
Well, was he up to the task?
He was up to the task. I'm like, I'm not going to... I'm like, hey... I see why you're confident. So, go for it, buddy. And I don't know what else to say.
No, I believe it or not, I understand exactly.
And now people watching this are about to go be looking up the Dave Bautista.
Yeah. What was it called? You're the movie guy.
Bro, like I said, all I know is the B-side of One Night in Paris.
Wow.
So if that helps you, maybe find that online.
So it was like a double-sided DVD?
It wasn't double-sided. It was like the main feature and then one of the extra scenes on it was the Dave Bautista.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it was, that's a bootleg copy.
That would probably be better than watching Hulk Hogan. Either
Bro,
way.
I mean, probably, dude.
Yeah, brother. Right?
That was perfect.
What?
But yeah, Dave Bautista is incredible in everything he's in.
Including adult films, apparently.
Yeah, I'm like, dude was born to act. Either way you want to put it.
Wow.
And Drax actually, probably in a weird way, besides Nebula, probably has the most character development.
Yes.
Because...
you're right. Because even he's dancing at the end.
Yeah. And he starts out, like you said, he's not a nice guy in the beginning.
No.
And he becomes the lovable idiot you just want to hug every time you see him.
Yeah.
He's that guy. He's the big guy at the party that everyone knows and wants to be around.
Yeah.
He's the guy doing a keg stand with you. And he's the guy who's going to help you out if you're puking too much.
Yeah.
And he's the guy if someone looks at you the wrong way, he is going to handle that for you. And he becomes that, though. His relationship that he grew with Quill and grew with Rocket, and especially Mantis, him and Mantis pretty much become best friends.
I think he loves Mantis.
I think he
in
a romantic in love way with her too. Yeah. I was like, he wants, and I was like, it would be so cute.
Yeah,
but
because he always tells her, like in the second one, like how ugly she is and stuff.
Yeah, and that's like the old bully method.
Yeah, it's like you're beautiful on the inside.
On the inside, you know, it's the old. Oh, I bully you because I'm actually attracted to you. You know, from back in old playground sandbox type of puppy love. Yeah. Because let's keep it real. Drax has the mind of like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, so,
yeah.
So it makes sense. That would be his way of flirting with a woman.
Yes.
You know, he doesn't understand much. He's dumb.
Yeah,
you know, he is dumb. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. Drax is dumb.
Yes.
But he understands enough to get things done. But he fucks up all the time.
Oh, yeah. Like, but he's also like, I'll say like impetuous, because in the beginning of Volume 2 is when he jumps into that monster and thinks he's going to get it from the inside.
Oh, yeah. And he's just...
And then Gamora slices it open and he's like, I did it all by
myself. Yeah, I'm like, this guy. Yeah, he's fearless too. He ain't afraid of nothing. He'll jump on the grenade.
But it was to save everybody else.
Yeah. And
because he thought that's all he could do.
That's all he could do. And essentially, and he's so much more than that. Yeah. And that's why I love his arc, especially in the third one. Because yes, he's a protector, an enforcer, a funny guy, but he's also a comforting soul.
Yeah.
That people love to be around, and they need him.
Yeah, because those kids, they trust him.
They trust
him. And
he
can communicate
and he knows
with
how to
him.
talk to him. Yeah, I'm like, they're like, you know what they're saying?
And that's when Nebula becomes Jeff Winger from the pilot episode of Community talking to Abed. I see your value now.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. You know, I wonder if James Gunn was watching that.
He worked with the guys who directed those episodes.
Was watching it. He might have been on set.
Yeah, because it was the Russo brothers.
Yeah, he might have been on set that day.
They directed most of the first two seasons.
They come, wow.
Yeah,
they come really far. But Drax he's a great character, man. And I like Drax's look with his like gray skin and the like red, like whatever the hell designs on him. And of course, Batista's fucking huge.
Oh, yeah.
So he really looks the part great. And it's like, Batista's like, I'm sure he's used, performance enhancing drugs in the past, but I think now he's going.
That was for that adult film.
Oh, definitely. I think
I need a performance enhancing.
A lot of performance enhancing drugs. But I think for the recent Guardian movies, I think he's went all natural, and it gives him, which when you're that big and muscular, it comes with weight, and you're not going to be shredded everywhere if you're natural. Yeah. Sorry, guys. If you're 230 pounds and you're muscular, you're not going to have freaking six pack. Like it's just, you're not going to have bulletproof abs if you're natural. It doesn't work that way.
Well, that's good to know. That explains my dad bod. This keg that I have instead of a six pack.
Bro, I'm about 200 pounds right now. I'm like, dude, maintaining abs for me is like, oh my Lord, it's insane. So, if I gain 20 more pounds, oh my God, they're gone. But I'd be freaking huge. I look I look like I'd eat you.
That actually explains a lot of wrestlers' bodies.
Yes, that's why they're built. They're big shoulders, big back, big chest, but a lot of them will have a little bit of stomach, and some bigger thighs and legs and butt area. To have muscle like that, it requires weight. Yeah. And if you're doing it naturally, dude, you're not. Body fat is gonna hide muscle definition. Yeah. So even though that's why the strongest, seriously, that's why the strongest men in the world, the guys who squat 700-800 pounds, bench 500
and pull
pounds,
buses with their teeth.
Yeah, those guys look fat on the surface.
Yeah, they do.
But they're
You're right.
fucking strong as hell.
Yeah.
But you need that weight to be able to pull that weight. So it's like Drax,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So Drax's body type, I feel, is very perfect for that kind of role because he's so strong and big. But he looks like an actual dad-like figure that would be that big, strong dad type because he is a dad type.
Yeah, and he's a protector. You're right.
He's a protector, and I like that. He feels, although he's an alien, he feels very human in a sense. Yeah. And he almost maybe feels the most human out of all the characters, even Quill. Yeah. Because everyone knows someone like Drax.
Yeah, and in the comics, I believe Drax was a human.
Oh, was he?
And I think Thanos took him, like killed his wife and daughter, of course, and then turned him into like what he looks like.
I mean, I'd be like,
yeah, because I think he was just green and had like a different costume in the comics. Then later on, he had, they're not tattoos, but
essentially,
yeah,
we'll call them tattoos.
Yeah, the Madonna henna tattoo period thing. Yeah,
yeah, he does have a cool look. I think his look is cool.
But that might be why he seems almost more human, because originally he was, but then he got like away from that because he was kidnapped and then all that.
You got you're powerful now.
And, you forget all that. You forget your humanity.
You forget your humanity. You know what I'm saying? Like Barry forgot his humanity.
Yeah, you're right.
And when he lost his power, he's like, "Holy shit, I'm a guy."
I'm slow.
Yeah, I'm slow.
Oh god,
that scene is so great. Oh my god, I literally just laughed for like 5 straight minutes.
It always keeps going back to the Flash, but I'm glad you brought that up, because I think what works in the Guardians also worked in the Flash.
It did,
because it shows a humanity and God, I'm struggling for the words, because I'm always. I rewatched The Flash again last week, which I know is shocking.
I mean, it's a good watch though.
But I was thinking about it because of the way that Rocket's origin was in Volume 3. Mm-hmm. They kind of do the same, although Barry is literally
flashing back.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, he's actually going there.
Yeah,
but
so
it does show you how things got there.
Yeah.
Same like with Rocket.
And I think that's what made me think of it, was that they sort of incorporate the same kind of thing, just like the Batman. Mm-hmm. I rewatched the Batman because I've been wanting to.
Oh, so good.
And it's such a slow burn. I'm watching it now, like, I can't believe we sat through this whole thing in the theater.
Dude, I was glued, man.
I know, so was I, though.
I was glued. I was so mad I had to pee at one point. I was like, bro, I ran to that bathroom. I was like, come on, piss, hurry up.
Yeah.
I was like, jeez.
You're like punching your bladder?
Dude, I literally was like, oh, God, why is it so much? I was like, never get the large Sprite again. You know, I was literally like, Christ. I was like, man, I was so mad. Like, and it is such a slow burning film.
Yeah.
It's like, but the beginning starts out with just the right amount of action to lock you in.
Yeah, tension and action.
Burns you through so nicely.
But in that film, they don't go directly into it like Batman Begins does.
Oh, yeah, they go right in.
But they reference enough through, it's more like news clips of flashbacks, so you get an idea of his origin.
Yeah.
And who his parents were. Now, Batman Begins does a better job of showing who his parents were before the origin that everyone knows of Batman.
Because I mean, Batman Begins is a straight origin story.
Yeah, it is, and it's linear.
It's linear. Yeah,
so,
and it's Nolan.
Yeah, so it might jump ahead a few years here and there, but it's still pretty linear as far as what happens.
And, until when you find out, who the villain really is at the end. But
Alfred. Spoiler alert, it's Alfred the butler.
Alfred, he's an ass.
He wanted all the money for himself.
I don't blame him. Sir Michael Caine.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's definitely a full-on origin. But, the Batman definitely cut in just the right amount. Because Matt Reeves gave us just enough of what you need to know, because he didn't treat his audience like they weren't fans. He treated the audience like, you know who I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
I don't need to hold your hand through this.
Yeah, and he showed us something different about Thomas and Martha Wayne that we didn't know before.
We didn't know, He was like, I'm going to give you some different stuff.
Yeah.
You know this. You know this character. Everyone who paid to be here on opening night knows who this guy is and his whole story. Let me give you something different.
Yeah.
They're coming for you again. I told you, quit committing crimes.
I know. I gotta stop. It's these guys. I live pretty close to a police station too. I think that's another problem.
Yeah, we're right off one of the busiest streets in town.
Yes.
And the cop station's near. So, he commits crimes all day. Which is
always,
why we talk about heroes and villains so much.
Yes. And which one is which, right?
Yeah.
Is Lex Luthor a villain, or is he trying to stop an alien menace from taking over?
Lex Luthor's a fucking villain.
Okay. That's the end of that discussion.
I mean, dude, it's all selfish gain.
It is, of course. But if he can use that narrative to sway people's opinion, he will use it. He's very much political in that way.
We might as well call Adrian from Watchmen a hero then, too.
Who? Which
the,
one?
the villain in the Watchmen. Might as well call him
Ozymandias.
Yeah, might as well call him a hero then too. If we're
Well,
gonna call Lex a hero,
yeah, that's true. You're right.
you know,
Because he was not a hero.
He was not. Lex is an asshole.
Oh, he is completely.
But I love
to
Gene
him, he's
Hackman.
not.
I
Oh,
love
he is
Gene
great.
Hackman in it. I was weird on him at first. Like when I'm like, Hackman though?
Yeah.
Because I know him from like all his like crazy dramatic roles.
But it's right after the French Connection.
Yeah,
you know?
so it's like
and the Poseidon Adventure and stuff.
I'm like the Hackman I'm used to is just not this, you know. It's like, wow, this is it. But it just shows you how good he is. You know?
Yeah.
And then him as Royal Tenenbaum is
perfect.
Yeah. Beyond perfect, you know. But anyway, we're not talking about Gene
sorry.
Here.
So back to Drax.
Drax. So.
Yeah, and you don't really know much about Drax's origin other than the fact that his wife and daughter were murdered by, I think, Ronan. Even though Ronan was working for Thanos at the time, and that's why he wants to go after Thanos.
Yeah.
Drax does at the end of the first.
Nothing goes without Thanos to say.
Yeah. So it's interesting though because you still grow with him and get attached to him as a character because, in spite of not knowing anything really about him, other than how he treats the people that he's made his surrogate family.
Yeah, he's become that father-like figure.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, Mantis does play a motherly role because she's the nurturer. She's the one who takes care of everyone when they're hurt. She's the one who puts everyone's mind at ease. She's the one who makes sure everyone's getting enough rest. And I think that's why they kind of gave off a mommy and daddy kind of vibe.
Yeah, they did.
And that's why I was like, at some point, are they going to get together? I really thought they were at some point, but I just don't think Mantis saw him that way.
No, unfortunately, but only because she never got a chance to see him be that kind of nurturer that she is
until it was almost the end.
Yeah. So like, honestly, I hope they never do any more Guardians.
No, like leave it alone.
Without James Gunn, it would be the same.
Yes, please don't just let it be.
Unless like, Warner Brothers Discovery decides to reboot their stuff again without him, I would not want to see anything with these characters without his name on it.
Yep.
Because it wouldn't be the same. The voice wouldn't be the same.
Nope.
Like Rocket wouldn't be the same. Even if Bradley Cooper's doing the voice, like the voice and the writing wouldn't be the same.
The voice and the writing is what matters, man.
Like Peter Quill wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't.
Like Drax wouldn't be. Nothing would be the thing that attracts you to these characters again and again. Because I don't know how many times I've watched like the first two films, and even the holiday special I watched a few times. And
it was way better than I thought it was going to be.
And look, I know people that have watched the holiday special and were like bawling like babies because
it was so sweet.
And they realized like, they realized that. I think that's what it was. Like they felt the emotion of the characters, but they, kind of grafted that with their own feelings about the holiday.
Yep.
And how they feel about family.
And how far people go to make people happy on the holidays.
Yes.
It's the most stressful time of year.
Yes.
These dudes kidnapped an A-list actor and brought him to another planet just for a friend.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But funny thing about the holiday special, just when they actually break into Kevin Bacon's house, it's fucking hilarious. The way they're chasing him. Like when they're jumping on the side.
Yes.
But when Drax has the elf.
Yeah.
And he leaves it inside and he's like, wait, I left my little man inside. And she's like, you can't go get it. And she's like, you got to make a choice. Make Peter happy or go get your little man. And he's like, I want to go get my little man. I was like, yo, that's why I gotta love Drax. And I'm like, that's just the like childlike fun nature of Drax. He's like, he's the dad you would have always wanted, who would have, would be like, Dad, let's go throw the ball around, play with me. He'd be like, oh, he'd get more into it than you would,
Yeah.
It's like, it's just, but his whole goal, because it was his idea, he wanted to make Peter happy.
Yeah.
Which, he does still, I think he does look at Peter like a son almost, or at least like a little brother.
Yeah.
One of the other, because Drax, I would say, is probably older than everyone, right?
Yeah, I would think. So. Yeah, because he was already in the jail.
Yeah, I was like, I would think Drax is older than everyone. He is the oldest one out of all of them, actor-wise, and,
yeah, he is.
And in his character, so... he did feel like older brother, father, like I want to do something nice for my bro, my son, whatever. And that was really sweet. And of course, Drax went about it in a Drax way.
Yeah,
like
he beating up a
well,
GoBot.
maybe if you could throw me over the, you just throw him over the fence. It's just like, why you didn't let me finish? You know?
Yeah, ow.
so yeah, he's an incredible character. I think he's a character. Everyone, he's a comic relief, but he's so much more than that.
Yes,
he's so much more than that. That's just incredible, right?
And Mantis then, because we talked a little bit about their dynamic, like when they introduce her, you don't know what to think of her.
You really don't. One, you don't even know if she's a good or a bad person.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're like, first of all, what is she? You're like, okay, you're half bug, half human. Okay,
Yeah.
You got some cool little weird powers, but you don't seem like a fighter. Even though she kind of, in the Christmas special, she was going hard.
She was,
like,
yeah.
Where was all this fighting in all the movies?
even drinking, she was going hard.
I was like, wait a minute. That's what I really like about the Christmas special. It was like, it felt like if James Gunn was like, I just want people to see the Guardians not doing crazy shit, just enjoying being them every day.
Yes.
Dudes. That's what's fun about it. Just seeing them, like the song at the beginning, and Peter Quill's just watching. He's like, "You just got these instruments?"
Yeah, that's right.
That was funny as hell. I'm like, this is cool.
Now, have you ever seen the travesty that is the Star Wars holiday special from like '78?
I refuse to watch it.
I believe, because there's like some animated sequences in this, I believe this is like his version, because obviously the Guardians is almost, especially now, like a better version of Star Wars.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Not the original.
Yeah. No.
But I mean,
that's its own thing.
Yeah. As far as like a modern thing,
Yeah.
it kind of made its own universe,
Mm-hmm.
like Star Wars did.
It really did.
And I think the holiday special, having the animated parts, because the Star Wars holiday special is at least famous for one thing: introducing Boba Fett in the animated sequences.
Yeah.
Now the rest of it is a travesty, but I think so. This is like a better version. It's almost like a reboot, and something that, I mean, it's hopeful. Like you said, it's sweet. It's I want to say it's almost non-denominational in a way, even though obviously they're celebrating Christmas. But like, even that song that Kevin Bacon ends up singing with those aliens, like, there's something about that song that like, it's almost bittersweet and melancholy in a way, and a lot of times you feel that way at Christmas time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you can't see your family, and maybe that's why those guys I was talking to about it, maybe that's why they got emotional. Because you can't always spend time with your family, or you've lost family. And you think about the times you did spend together.
Yep, the memories.
Yeah.
And
and he captured it.
Yeah. I will be watching the holiday special around Christmas time for sure again.
Yeah, every year.
Gonna throw it on. Yeah. Short, quick watch, but if you cut the credits out, it's probably like 38 minutes maybe.
Yeah,
so it's not too long, about 45 if you watch all the credits.
Yeah.
But I thought the holiday special was really great in showing how much these people, these guys aren't, this isn't just like a business relationship or just like, this isn't like just, these are my partners, we work together and this is a job. No, these is my homies. We work together, we play together.
Yeah, and they're getting nowhere together in that special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And Kevin Bacon even sees, in a quick, just very brief amount of time, he sees the amount of care of these freaky looking people.
Yeah.
Or because he's, as you would be if Drax walked up. Drax was in my house. I shit my pants.
Yes.
Not because how big he is, because I don't
what
know
he looks
what
like,
he is.
Yeah.
Like when he calls the cops, he's like, there's some people in costumes here.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I really do like Mantis's character though, and I think the holiday special in 3 really showed us who she is.
Yeah,
and she's a sweet girl. She's a nice lady. She's
almost as innocent as Drax in a lot
of ways.
She really is.
Yeah, she isn't an evil spirited person at all.
No,
she never really had any evil motivations, and she just wants to help. She just wants to nurture and love, and that's the type of woman she is. She's the type. she will make a great mother one day if she decides to have children.
Yeah.
And she's the type of person who understands that you can't always do everything that sounds right to make the ultimate right decision.
Yeah.
Like the things she hides from Drax, or
Yeah.
she hides from everyone. I'm sure she hides things from everyone that she probably knows more about each of them than any of them do about each other.
Yeah, because she's that sensitive,
and she can feel what you're thinking. She feels your emotions, so
Yeah.
she knows more about all these characters than any of them actually do about each other because she can feel them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Mantis as a character is extremely interesting and fits the piece, is a perfect piece of the puzzle that makes them a whole unit. Every character in here is needed to make the ship go. If you pull one of these out, like if there was one of them missing in this third film, you would have felt that. Any one of them, from the smallest to the biggest.
Yeah.
If it was obviously you missed. After seeing the third one, if Rocket wasn't in it, you'd be like, okay, what the hell was this?
Yeah, this isn't a Guardians movie.
Yeah, like even like because I'm like, they gotta have Gamora's gotta have a role in here. It's not a Guardians movie. And she had a big role, so I'm like, good.
Yeah, and he found a way. You're right. Even though other Marvel writers and producers separated Gamora from the Guardians, he found a way to bring her back.
He was like, I'm not,
because it's not a Guardians movie
it's
without
not a Guardians movie without. It's so Saldana, bro. Like, it's not a Guardians movie without her. She's a legend already, and she's only like 45, 46.
Yeah,
so I'm like, she's already a legend. She's an incredible actress. I mean, look at from Avatar. She just. Colombiana is awesome.
Drumline.
Oh my God, that is her. Nick Cannon's girlfriend. I didn't even think of Drumline was like one of my favorite movies when I was like.
And look, that was probably one of her first films.
It might have been her first film.
Yeah.
That's like what, 02?
It's something around there. Yeah,
I saw that in theaters with my mom. I think I was in 5th grade, man.
Wow,
crazy.
Wow,
that was a good one, man. Nick Cannon actually put out a good performance.
Yeah.
He's not a terrible actor.
He is not. And you know what? He hosts The Masked Singer with Ken Jeong. Who, and you know, The Masked Singer is just a fun show to watch.
People love it, man.
Because there's no stakes.
Yeah, there's nothing. People
are just doing what they do because they want to do it and they love it. You don't really win anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually probably the most fun show on TV because there's nothing involved other than people having fun.
People love The Masked Singer. When it first came out, I did not think it was going to take off the way it did.
I didn't either.
Fuck off. I was like, holy hell.
I'd say I did not like Ken Jeong until I watched The Masked Singer. And now I love him in Community, Dr. Ken. I wasn't a fan of the Hangover movies. I was not. I apologize.
That's an argument for another day.
I like Todd Phillips as a director, though.
Just the Hangover one. I care less about 2 and 3.
I might have to rewatch it though.
Todd Phillips is good though.
I saw it it came out in 2009, so I saw it either then or 2010. So I might not have been in the right frame of mind.
It's on Netflix. Check it out. It's one of my favorite Vegas movies too.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Tyson, right?
Mike Tyson, bro. Yeah, Mike, yeah. He said, don't worry about Omar, man. He's not with us no more.
That was a good Mike Tyson.
Yeah, he said, spinal. Fucking Mike is great. But anyway, sorry, guys.
Yeah,
talking about Mike Tyson. Mantis as a character I think she was a great addition, adding her in the second film, and he added her in so seamlessly. It felt like she was always there.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's like watching going back. You watch the first one now, no Mantis. You're like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah, it is weird, and it's the origin of how they all got together. But you're right, because after 2, because she's in most of 2.
Yeah, she's
anyway,
pretty much in the whole damn thing.
And then Infinity War, Endgame, and Volume 3 and the holiday special, you see her throughout. So it's that Mandela effect.
Yeah.
You're like, she was always around.
She's like the main character in the holiday special.
Yeah, her and Drax are the two.
They carry it. Because, Quill's only in it for probably about 10 total minutes.
Yeah.
But it's them. They go to LA. They go and they do all the stuff. They hit the gay bar and get Swayze.
Yeah.
Have a great time.
And you can tell it's a gay bar, which is great because it's a Disney thing.
Yeah.
So it's like Disney, I think, slowly is trying to be more inclusive.
Well, I mean, I think they're on that train already.
Yeah, in spite of people getting upset at, the way that they're being inclusive, like the representation. I mean, at least they're trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My main issue with Disney is, see, I'm fine with them wanting to be inclusive, but with that, they're doing wrong things too, like firing James Gunn.
Yes,
That's a part of their inclusivity.
Oh yeah,
deal. It's like, oh, we're trying to, make everyone happy.
Yeah, because people got offended at a tweet from 12 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like what?
Well, we're trying to be all inclusive, so we got to fire a guy who made us $2 billion.
Yeah, but the thing is, you hired him after that tweet.
Yeah,
you had him make things after that tweet that you fired him for. Y'all should have
did your freaking pre-screening a little bit better.
And it's a tweet. If people actually got fired
12 years ago,
if people actually
different,
but if people got fired for the stuff they tweet, why
no one would have a job?
Why is CULT Colt 45 still around? You know what I mean? The 45th president. If people get fired for their tweets.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry.
Right? Crazy.
Sorry, I hate to get political.
He was the ultimate tweeter. I mean, that dude stayed on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, he would be shitting on the pod, tweeting.
Yo, for real.
What down in the dumps.
Down in the dumps. Getting porcelain pleasure.
Yeah. Like what
every thought he had, he let us all know. Some people loved it, and obviously others didn't. But
but oh my god! But I'm just saying, you got to be across the board. You can't pick and choose.
Yeah, a guy who makes films gets fired for his tweets, but the president doesn't. So it's like, come on, man. Yeah. What are our standards here?
And one we voted in.
Yeah.
Well, not really, if you could do the counts, but you know what I mean. Technically,
college.
Yeah. The Electoral College voted him in.
Yeah.
Anyway. That's a different podcast.
Whole different. Yeah. So
this is about another unfair thing about him getting fired, making the Suicide Squad, and then Peacemaker, which was incredible.
Disney watched Suicide Squad. I was like, call him.
My God, he still has it.
They're like, call him back.
Yeah.
Give him whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Hey, James, how you doing? Disney here. Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Listen. We may have jumped the gun. The James gun.
Yes. Not the Tim gun.
We jumped the James gun. And we got $35 million for you. What's going on, pal?
Yeah.
He's like, I'll call you back.
Yeah. Let me see what DC will do for me first, if they'll let me.
30, can we
and you know what? Props to Warner Brothers.
Rain?
Yeah, thunder. It was supposed to today. The weather's all
awesome.
Yeah, great. It gets better. It gets Heat wave and thunderstorms.
Yeah, it's one day.
Fantastic.
But anyway.
It's a lot of credit to Warner Brothers and DC Studios for being, I'll say, kind enough to be like, you need to finish this.
Yeah.
Go ahead, as long as you come back.
They probably were like, we want to see how it ends.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, dude, we want to see how it ends. But all it did was just add to his resume.
Yeah.
And now he can be like, hey, I need 10 more million.
Yeah.
He can be like, well, here you go.
Yeah.
Because you going to say no to a dude who just made $900 million?
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't think about that. DC said, now that he's under contract with them, being like, okay, go make your holiday special and your movie. That's cool, because we still have these other projects that are going to come out, and then start your thing.
Yep.
That's awesome that they believe in him that much.
Chapter, and now you can fully be here with us.
Yeah.
Yep. And of course, dude, I would too. I'd be like, dude, it's James Gunn here. I'm not going to say no to him. Because
next he wrote a new Superman movie.
That's what's next.
Yeah, Superman Legacy. Directing? I believe directing. He wrote it. Yeah, so
we might have the best Superman movie coming out since 1978.
Yeah, we might. Because think about how he handles these characters. Because Peter is sort of almost like I'll call him like an anti-Superman. Yeah. Because he has no real powers. And he came from Earth and went into space.
He went backwards. He's a reverse Superman.
Reverse Superman is better. You're right.
Reverse Superman.
Yes.
Went to outer space, no powers. He went to Earth and had powers. So literally reverse.
But James Gunn, I believe, after rewatching these, he's a lot like Alan Moore. Because Alan Moore, obviously Watchmen, V for Vendetta, we were talking about, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He wrote all these great books, Miracle Man, From Hell. He also wrote the book that movie was based on. He does a lot of research, and he really loves the characters he works on. And
Uh-huh.
Alan Moore wrote the last like Silver Age Superman story, which was incredible. Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow is what it's called. And he wrote a really great Superman annual from '85 that he and Dave Gibbons, the guy who did Watchmen with him, worked on, called "For the Man Who Has Everything." That just that's another. That's the thing Publisher put up. Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. So he also wrote "For the Man Who Has Everything," which is a really great story about Superman getting a gift from Mongol, who's kind of like the DC version of Thanos. It's a plant that puts him in like a coma and makes him think that like he's still on Krypton, it never exploded, and what his life would be like. It's an amazing story, but Alan Moore loves the characters so much, he researches like everything, and Grant Morrison does the same thing like with his Batman run later on, but he's kind of like Alan Moore light because Alan Moore was first. And I believe James Gunn is like the film version of that. Like he loves these characters so much, and I believe he does so much research into them that he's able to pull like the essence of them and still have them work in the context of like the MCU, even though he's retaining what makes them great as characters, and not all the films are able to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think he's honestly like the cinematic Alan Moore in that respect. Like he's able to keep everything intact, have you care about everything that this character has ever gone through on that journey you take with them. It's amazing.
He is incredible with characters.
Yeah.
I think that's his strongest point.
And if he can nail Superman,
it's game over.
the way he nailed Rocket, like if he can make us care that much about a raccoon,
he can definitely make us care about Superman.
Yeah, exactly. Because Superman is a tough character to crack because in a way he could be almost omnipotent on Earth. So if he can find a way to do it like Grant Morrison has in the past and Alan Moore has in the past, it would be so gratifying to see.
I need him to put it on screen like Richard Donner gave it to us.
Yes.
Because Superman the movie,
I know you love it.
I loved it, man. For 1978, it's just like, I truly don't know how he captured all that stuff into one film. Like, it feels like so many different genres.
It is.
It's like, it feels like a drama, a romance movie, a comedy, an action movie. It's like,
and in a way, like even the beginning of it, the Smallville stuff taking place like in the 50s, it's a period piece.
It's a period piece. And It's just I was really blown away with what Richard Donner gave us.
You know who wrote the original draft of that script? Mario Puzo.
What did you write?
The Godfather.
Godfather. I was like, Godfather.
You know that name, yeah.
I was like,
the guy who wrote The Godfather wrote at least the original draft that became Superman the movie and Superman 2. I mean, there were some rewrites and things like that in between, but Mario Puzo, that was his basic story.
Wow.
For Superman.
What a writer.
And think about it, Vito was an immigrant.
He was.
So is Clark Kent or Kal-El.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in a way, I wonder, I never thought about this till just now. I wonder if you can watch Superman the movie and Superman 2 and see
if you can parallel Godfather.
Yeah, The Godfather 1 and 2, just how they like an immigrant story.
Actually, you actually can. You actually can. That's a whole different episode.
Yeah.
If you want, we could do that one of these days.
Yeah.
Compare Superman 1 and 2 to Godfather 1 and 2. Because they're a little more comparable than you probably think.
Yeah.
And now that you say that.
Well, I just thought of it because of the writer, believe it or not. And obviously Richard Donner had a lot to do with the success of Superman, and not really too, because we had that discussion before.
Was mind-blowing.
Because the Donner cut was obviously later. but you know, it's still like amazing to see how, because we're talking about James Gunn and his writing, not only his direction. Mm-hmm. So how much a writer influences what we see.
Oh my God, it's everything.
Yeah.
The writing is where it all starts, man. If the writing's ass, the product at best can be mediocre.
Yeah.
You know, at best. Because when stuff's well written, if the director's there, it's going to be good. And it's going to be good.
And honestly, I believe Andy Muschietti, whose name I'm sure I'm butchering.
You're probably right.
I think he did such an amazing job. I'm going back to the Flash again because Christina Hodson, who wrote the script, I think she really did her homework as far as like what makes these characters work.
She definitely had to.
And I know he did. The director. I'm not going to butcher his name again, just for his sake. But I think in the same way, because not many people know the Flash anyway.
Yeah, he's a very underrated hero.
Yeah, so I think they did a great job in the same way that like Superman the movie did, or even like Tim Burton's Batman.
Yeah.
And I want to say Batman Begins because that's also an origin story.
Iron Man 1 too.
Oh yes, Iron Man.
Yeah, Iron Man
and
1.
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Yeah, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, I believe, is just as good as Superman 78.
I would say,
as far as origin,
yes,
yeah.
I would say it is.
Yeah, because it reminds me almost the same pacing.
Yeah, it actually is very similar pacing.
Because he doesn't get his costume till like an hour in.
Yeah, I was like, it's the same.
Yeah,
I'm like, you're deep in.
Yeah,
I love Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, but I don't know, man. It was just something about that first Superman movie. It just hits a little bit different. I don't know.
It was the right thing at the right place in the right time.
Everything
because
worked.
We may have said it a long time ago now, but I think it's because Star Wars made that possible.
It did.
Because you could actually believe a man will fly or could fly because you just saw all this stuff in space.
Yeah, you saw the psycho stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, anything's possible now. I just saw a walking carpet.
Yeah. Yeah. So George Lucas, honestly, in a way, is probably responsible for the superhero boom.
Oh, yeah. I would have to say.
Because not only special effects wise, but everything he pioneered.
Yeah, I would say George Lucas and Steven Spielberg are the biggest contributors and groundwork layers for the modern hero film. And, of course, Donner has to be thrown in there, too, because he did kind of do it first.
Yes,
he did kind of show us this could work. And then all the sci-fi and adventure movies Spielberg did in Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
It just showed us, like, bro, we can start blending all this with the action and the effects and the space. And then, now we got the MCU.
Yeah, because Indiana Jones proved, like, you could probably do a Batman movie.
Yes.
Without any real super heroics.
Yeah. A regular guy can be a hero.
Yeah. Because honestly, Harrison Ford as Han Solo and Indiana Jones predated Bruce Willis as John McClane.
They did.
And you're right, because Harrison Ford is just like a regular dude.
Regular-ass dude.
That could kick ass.
Mm-hmm.
My God, you're right. Yeah. And that was over a decade before Die Hard.
Yep. That's when, like, he might have been the first everyman.
Yeah, I think he was.
I'm like, yeah. Wow. So we got through Mantis.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
We got
Groot
and Gamora.
Groot and Gamora. Yeah. Who do you want to? Do you want to do Gamora? Because we talked about her a little bit with Peter and with Nebula because of the loss of her.
Yeah. Let's talk about Gamora. It's weird though because Gamora is probably the lesser of all of them in a weird way because of how her arc goes after Infinity War.
She's more like the damsel in distress in a
lot
of ways, even though she's never in distress.
But
that's like her trope.
Her trope. It's like she never really knows what's actually going on.
Yeah.
She's always thrown into some fire randomly.
And she falls for Peter, but Peter falls for her. So it's that... Yeah. Because didn't we talk before about like how films like
feels like Mario and Peach almost
love at first sight all the time?
Yeah, but it wasn't with them. Like
no,
you could tell Peter was like, yes, you could tell Peter was like, yo, this green chick kind of hot
because he's like the Captain Kirk of Guardians. Because he had that chick in his ship when he stole the thing in the first one.
Did.
He's like, oh, I forgot you were here. Sorry, I forgot you were here. But because he's sleeping with whoever.
Yeah, he's literally. He is playing a Han Solo type of role. Just, being a ship ride crusader,
Because even Gamora mentioned something about like his pelvic sorcery. Right? When they're listening to Fooled Around and Fell in Love in the first one, and she's like, I'm not going to fall for your pelvic sorcery.
I like that phrasing James Gunn wrote for that. And Gamora is awesome because she's this really like rough around the edges chick that though like if you break past that surface, she's probably amazing. Because she is, I mean, it's Zoe Saldana. She's a pretty woman. And even as green, she's pretty green, blue, whatever color she seems to be.
Yeah. It depends on the film franchise.
Yeah, you know, she can be brown. She can be green. She's a lot of colors, guys. She's like a rainbow human.
Yeah.
So, Gamora, though, she's fearless. She's badass. You know, she has a lot of emotional trauma, though, growing up with Thanos. And I think she actually carries it more than Nebula does. Because I think she felt the pressures of being great more than Nebula did because he put so much on her.
And also because she knew, even though she doesn't really acknowledge it, she knew that every time she won, she was hurting her sister.
Yep, every time. She knew. And she cares about Nebula. You know,
she
like,
does.
They may have that little sibling rivalry, bickering, and all that. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm still my sister. I'll still ride or die.
Yeah,
Because even in Guardians 3, when she doesn't really remember everything, she still knows, hey, this is my sister. She called me up. You know what I mean? Like, so that they still know, like,
oh yeah, because she saw Nebula kill the other Nebula in Endgame.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, that's nutty. But Gamora she's almost like, she's obviously one of Quill's main motivations for wanting to be great, wanting to be a better guy, wanting to be a part of something. And their relationship blossoms very nicely. And it is unfortunate how it goes.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, I like it because it is realistic and it's different.
Yeah.
It's something, you know, this is not the hero always typically gets the girl, or they're always there. Where Gamora, although, yes, they were in love at one point, they're friends.
Yeah.
And it's like, they can be just friends. That can work for them. Yes, Peter will always want something a little bit more, but he knows how to handle himself and his emotions enough to be her friend to get things done.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, throughout the third one, they bond. And she does start to see, like, I can see why I might have liked this dude.
Yeah.
She's like, he ain't the worst looking guy either. You know what I mean?
It's not like he's Andy from Parks and Rec.
Yeah, dude. We're talking about Chris Pratt now here. Which, I mean, let's keep it real. James Gunn made Chris Pratt.
Oh, yeah,
Star-Lord made him, bro. Like, it wasn't Jurassic. Jurassic Park sucked. All the Jurassic Parks with Chris Pratt sucked. The only reason to watch is for Bryce.
I was going to say, whoa.
It's like, that's the only reason you watch him, you know, just to look at her. But, you know, Star-Lord is what made Chris Pratt as an actor. And now, of course, he's Chris Pratt and he's done all kinds of cool stuff. Yeah. But Gamora is what really, I think, brings out Chris Pratt's performance in there to make him shine. Because Star-Lord is a cool dude, man.
He is, actually.
He is a likable character.
Yeah.
And despite what you may think about Chris Pratt as a guy, because, you know, a lot of people say he can be a fucking dickhead and he's full of himself. Which, I mean, if you get that famous and that rich in that short amount of time, it might do that to you. It might do that to you.
Because, look, he struggled for at least...
What? 10 years?
10 or 15 years as an actor before that.
Yeah.
So, once you actually hit it, I mean...
He's like, I finally did it, man.
Yeah. But like, it's after all those years.
Yeah,
so it's like...
So he's like, I earned this. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
Why do you want me now instead of then? I'm the same dude.
He's like, what? Because I lost some weight, got in shape, look a little better, making a lot more money.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah.
We're superficial.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, shit. I could have said it better myself. But Gamora is definitely a fun character. Zoe Saldana's a great actress, so she brings this vigor and excitement to her character. It's fun watching her do action scenes, man. Yeah. She's a really good physical performer. Gamora's badass, man. She's like a good looking piece of broccoli that'll kick your ass.
Wow.
You know? That's how I look at her. She always reminds me of broccoli.
Really?
Yeah, she's green and stalky like.
Yeah, she does have that. Is sinewy the right word? Because she's thin, but muscular.
Yeah. She just reminds me of like the stalk from a piece of broccoli. I don't know why, but she is awesome. But I do think out of every character, she's the most underrated. You know, but there's a purpose to it. You know, I think he had a plan all along. And I'm sure, you know, when he got with the Russos, they sat went back and forth for weeks, months.
Yeah,
on how
probably.
to go
Yeah.
about this, So, because he's like, listen, what y'all are gonna do is gonna really change the trajectory of what I'm gonna do later.
Yeah.
So, they had to sit down but Gamora's awesome.
Yeah.
But I will say she's probably gonna be your least favorite just because you don't spend as much time with her.
Yeah. And then you have Groot, who you spend almost all the time with, and you still don't really get to know him
at all
because of his limited speech pattern.
Very, very, very limited speech pattern. Only time you know what he's saying is when someone repeats it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that you hear what he's saying through other characters, which ain't enough to tell you who he is. But one thing you know about little Groot, big Groot, medium-sized Groot, is Groot is a rider. And he's going to put his life on the line for the team every time.
For everybody. He saves them in the first one.
Yep.
And
dude, his abilities are incredible.
Yes,
man. When he can wake and grow, and he's hella strong, and he can transform, and he pretty much is immortal too.
It seems
he's
like
never going to die. A piece of him's always going to regrow. Unless you maybe burn him literally down to nothing.
Yeah, but even then,
I feel like he'll rise from the ashes.
Yeah, he's like a phoenix.
Yeah,
right?
I'm like, he is like a phoenix. I do think that Groot as a character is probably the most indestructible.
Yeah.
But he's your little brother. He's your little kid bro that you're tagging along, bro.
And actually after the first one, he almost becomes their son.
Yeah.
Because they have to regrow him from a twig.
Yep, it's crazy.
And in the second one, he's that tiny Groot or baby Groot or whatever. and like at the end during the Ravager funeral, he falls asleep on Drax's shoulder, and it's like it's weird how his dynamic changes the bigger he gets within the group.
Yeah. Because they do treat him age appropriate to
each
what
time.
He is. Yes.
Yeah.
When he's a teenager, they're like, quit being so angsty.
Yeah. He's like, I am Groot.
I am Groot. Quit being such a little shit. They treat him like a teenage kid.
Yeah.
And then when he's jacked like manly Groot, they treat him like a dude, like a man. Groot, they treat him like a baby. So it's just funny to see how they do treat him like a child. He's still childlike though in all his phrases. Even when he's big Groot, he's like, he might be like a 22-year-old. Like young, steroided up 22-year-old dude who thinks he knows it all, but he's still, his parents still tell him what to do.
Yeah.
And, he's always a rider. If Peter's like, Groot, let's get it.
Because Groot's the one that...
He comes through at the end,
he does.
Groot always... Groot is actually a day saver quite a bit in all of the films. And then, like you said, he becomes the handle for Thor's freaking axe.
Yeah, but Stormbreaker.
The Stormbreaker, a piece of his, what was it, his arm or his leg?
Yeah, it was his one arm.
Yeah.
Because he's the only thing that could,
that was, strong enough to hold it. So, and that just shows you he's something special, that of his own. I mean, I thought Groot was incredibly interesting and well written and designed character.
He's incredibly complex in spite of the limited
simplicities of him. Simple. He's limited speech. You never really, know what he's thinking, but you don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah,
you have an idea, but you never have full picture. It's like you're seeing it from far away.
Yeah,
you don't see the full details because you're like, it's like, all right, he's mad right now, but I don't know how mad he actually is.
Yeah,
it's like he's upset right now, but I don't know how upset he actually is.
Yeah,
so it's like you always got to play a guessing game with him, but you have to look at the characters around him and how they react to him to kind of grasp what it is he's actually thinking and how he's feeling. So
yeah, in a way, it's almost like Rocket is Calvin and Groot is Hobbes.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
because he does interpret for him most of the time. Although it gets to the point where Peter knows what he's saying, and Nebula and everyone, after a while. But at first, it was
because at first, everyone kind of looks to Han for Chewie's thoughts, and after a while, everyone knows what Chewie's thinking.
Exactly.
It's like Chewie, sorry, cool. Yeah, after a while, everyone, it's something I guess you get used to or you learn or whatever. But I mean, it's just I guess it would be the same if you were around. Say you got locked in a house with someone who spoke a different language for a while. After a while, you two would start to pick up on certain phrases and things from each other, like the basics. Because if say it's a guy, he keeps saying something to you in Spanish, and he's pointing. You're eventually gonna know what that thing is. You're gonna be like, okay. And he says it again, oh, you want the toaster, or whatever. Just lack of better words.
I've had those experiences at work, like individuals that didn't speak any English at all, and after a while, like you take care of them for years. You know how to communicate without language.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much what ends up happening.
Yeah, that's what ends up happening. But,
yeah.
I mean, Groot, great character. Him and Rocket are kind of the heart and soul of the team, really. They
are, yeah.
They don't. The team doesn't go without them two.
Yeah.
And that's what the third film really, really shows you. And anyone, I'm guessing whoever's listening to this has already seen them all.
Yeah.
But if for whatever reason you haven't seen the third one, it's on Disney Plus now, so you got no excuse.
And as is the holiday special.
Yeah, they're both on there. I would watch them back to back. I would actually probably watch the holiday special first because it does carry into the third one pretty nicely.
Yeah, a couple important plot points.
Yeah, and it'll definitely give you some perspective on things in the third one because like a lot of stuff in the third movie made sense to me after I watched the holiday special. So, I mean, I gotta give Guardians as a series, it's gotta get an A+, man.
Yeah.
It's gotta get an A+. They're highly entertaining films. Action, comedy, some emotional drama, great writing, character dynamics. The actors all buy in 100%. He used the budgets right. You see it on the screen,
Yes,
because on the screen.
There's no wonky effects.
No, the CGI is excellent.
Yeah,
everything looks good.
Like even Marvel, I'm one of those nerds. I like to see who does like the concept art and stuff. Andy Park, he was a comic book artist, like in the '90s and stuff. He does visual development with Marvel Studios now. He honestly, I think all three films, he's done a great job of fleshing out what the characters look like, and to help the costume designers and the set designers and everything. Andy Park and his team with these films, because I think he also does like the Thor movies and other films because he works for them. He does a lot of it. But I think with the Guardians films, he just does such a great job of making everything almost iconic.
Yeah.
Because you can just... You can see it without even seeing the films after you see them, because they stick with you, and that's a sign of a great artist. Along with, obviously, he works with James Gunn, so James Gunn knows what he wants, but having those other people, to translate it, it's incredible.
Get it out there,
and we should give credit to those guys behind the scenes.
They don't get enough. They don't get enough at all, man.
Yeah, costume designers, for example.
Guys who, how about the makeup artists who are putting these guys in makeup for 6, 7, 8 hours.
Yeah.
Man, it's insane.
Look, even the catering people that feed them.
Yeah, feed them.
You know what I mean? Like everybody.
It takes Drax and Gamora to get in those freaking characters.
Yeah.
Like Bradley Cooper's like, I just get to sit in the booth.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel's like, bro, Vin Diesel's probably just recorded all his voice like one time, and then you probably just reuse them.
Yeah, just speed it up, slow it down.
Speed it up, slow it down, change the pitches.
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
But yeah, I mean, so what's your overall score of Guardians as a series?
As a series, I would have to say the same, A+, because from the moment the credit starts in the first film, and that Redbone song comes on, you're gonna have a good time, and it doesn't disappoint.
Yep.
It never disappoints.
Oh, that's one thing.
The soundtrack.
I was like, one thing neither of us really brought up. You brought up a couple of the songs, but all three movies have banger soundtracks. Some of the best 80s and 90s music, some 70s stuff sprinkled in there.
Yeah.
But Peter Quill definitely has good music taste. So much so that he literally risked his life to get an old Zune from like 2006 or 7.
Yondu did.
Oh, yeah. Yondu,
in the second one, because Kraglin's like, Yondu got this at a scrapyard or something.
He got him the
Zune.
Yeah. Zunes were cool, man. I was always an iPod guy, but Zunes were a cool little competitor for a while. They didn't last long, but they were cool. They were different. Man.
That was Microsoft, wasn't it? The Zune or something?
It might have been. I
might have
don't
been,
know who made Zune, man. I'm shocked they didn't live longer, but They just, I don't know, something about Apple's interface just seems to resonate with people.
Yeah,
But I think, man, I think we covered this. I think we covered this well.
I think so.
I think we laid it all out.
You know, one of James Gunn's first films that he wrote or co-wrote was the Scooby-Doo movie.
From '02.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Film.
Believe it or not.
Love it. Matthew Lillard, perfection of Shaggy.
Yeah. I think they should do another sequel, because they did do one.
A shitty sequel.
But I think they should do another one, because I'd love to have Scooby be like, like, right, Raggy? And have Raggy be like, a lubba, lubba, lubba. Because it's the other Shaggy. Like, wouldn't that be great?
That would be great. I can't believe James Gunn's co-wrote that. But it is a good film.
Yeah.
I love that movie when I was a kid.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I love the Scooby-Doo movie.
Look, Scooby-Doo is actually a great franchise. Even a lot of the cartoons, like the early ones.
For sure.
And I think that over time, things get, to coin a phrase from Sofia Coppola, lost in translation.
Lost in translation.
So as time goes on, like, it's not the same as it was in like '69 when it started, or like through the '70s. Mm-hmm. And that's when it's like, just show me the old stuff.
When did Scrappy get introduced?
Believe it or not, I want to say 78, 79.
I was like, it was closer to the 80s.
Because he was throughout the 80s.
That's what a lot of people lost interest. They were like, puppy power.
Oh, my
God.
they were
not a fan.
Yeah, Scrappy-Doo is the worst.
I was like, why is he so angry?
But look, you have like Scooby-Dum was great. Yeah, Scooby-D was great. Yeah. Yeah, Dum-Dum-Dum. Yeah, man.
Oh, man, I might have to go back and watch some old Scooby-Doo.
Yes. I think a lot of them are on either Tubi or Max, I believe.
On Max, I would think so.
Yeah, but I know Tubi definitely.
On Max. Max, they have like the Scooby-Doo contract.
Yeah, because they own... I think Warner Brothers owns like the Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yeah, they definitely do. Because Warner Brothers has that video game where you can fight each other with all the characters.
Oh, really?
You got all the Scooby-Doo characters in it, yeah.
Wow.
It's a fun game, dude. You can get like Batman, Harley Quinn, Shaggy,
Scooby. Can you be Dexter from Dexter's Lab?
I don't know if they added him yet.
Because he would be like a tiny Tony Stark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because Rick from Rick and Morty's in there, and like, he's pretty much just like a gadget man. And
yeah.
He's just blowing shit up, and
yeah,
it's fun. Oh, he's
cool.
Fight in that game.
What about Ben from Ben 10? I always loved Ben 10.
Ben 10 is in there now.
Because he can be all sorts of aliens for 10 minutes at a time.
10 minutes at a time.
I think like 10 different aliens for 10 minutes at a time.
Dude, there's Iron Giant's in there.
Oh my God, Iron Giant.
I just watched that movie. That's all.
What a great film, dude. Brad Bird.
Yeah, man.
We might have to do a Brad Bird episode.
Yeah, dude. Ratatouille.
Okay, so you have like you just said the Iron Giant, the Incredibles, Ratatouille. Tomorrowland. Did you ever see that with George Clooney?
I've never seen that.
Incredible. Live action. Yeah, and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol he directed.
Yep.
And then obviously Incredibles 2.
Yep.
But yeah, Ratatouille.
Yeah, Ratatouille.
My God, Brad Bird. Family Dog was a show in the 80s. I think the characters were designed by Tim Burton. And Brad Bird was also one of the early directors on The Simpsons.
Oh, wow.
But Family Dog, it was originally an episode of Amazing Stories. It was an anthology series produced by Steven Spielberg in the 80s. It was incredible.
I know about Amazing
Stories. And then Family Dog had his own show for a little bit. I think Brad Bird worked on that too. Incredible.
It's crazy to see where people start, man.
Yeah, yeah. And then to see, like, I'm telling you, Tomorrowland was so underrated, and I think it lost money. But it's such a great film, man.
I'm going to check that out. You know I love Clooney, man.
Yeah, we should do a Brad Bird episode at some point.
Yeah, for sure. It's
incredible. Yeah.
Incredibles.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Just The Incredibles, man. I tear up every time I watch that movie.
We could do a whole episode on Just The Incredibles.
Yeah, we could, man. Just the first one.
The first one alone, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
All the references and all the homages to...
all the old hero crap, man.
Yeah, everything, man.
I just love it. Don't wear capes.
Oh, yeah. And then they show why. Yeah, no capes.
So funny.
And it actually makes sense.
It does. I'm like, bro, capes would hinder you, man.
Yeah.
Caught up and stuff.
Unless you're Superman. He's the only one who can wear a cape and get away with it, because all these other people are essentially humans.
Yep.
And that's why you don't wear capes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, guys, I think
I'm so sorry.
No, this is how we do.
Yeah.
I think we knocked this out nicely, man.
Yeah.
Go watch the new Guardians if you haven't.
Yeah.
Watch the Christmas special if you haven't.
Yeah,
it's worth your time. I'm telling. If you like Guardians, it's worth your time. Just check it out.
Yes.
So we'll get back to you guys when we're doing it next time. You'll just be surprised. But I am Dom.
I am Jamie.
This is the cutting room floor.